Folks, welcome everyone to our Trade Promotion Management Partner Enablement Series. My name is Ayaz Ahmed, and I'm the Global Lead for Partner Enablement Success for Consumer Goods Cloud. And today we have a special session as we have invited a couple of guests, as you can see on our screen, from our trusted partner and our recent revamp of our CG Partner Advisory Board member, OSF Digital. And they're going to talk about their journey into the TPM world and how they ramped to successfully complete the TPM AP exam, for which the learning process has helped them with their current TPM projects that they're working on. And also seeing that this AP exam is relatively newer one, and not a lot of partners have actually written it. Some may not even be fully aware of it, but there have been some questions on what we should know just getting into trade promotion management, seeing it as a product feature within Consumer Goods Cloud. And that said, I hope you all enjoy this session as we talk to OSF Digital about their journey. And also have to go through the forward-looking statement slide. Just a quick reminder that Salesforce is a publicly traded company. That just means make your purchasing decisions only on the products and services that we have commercially available here at Salesforce. And just some housekeeping items. I think most of the folks here know the Q&A widget is available. I don't think the chat widget is available from what I'm hearing from the audience participants, so that has been disabled. But if you have any questions during the webinar, feel free to use the Q&A widget. We will have a segment just to take up some questions that have come through. And if you need to turn on closed captions, please use the captions functionality at the bottom of your screen, and that will enable it for you. And the most common question is if this is being recorded. Yes, it is. I've set it to auto record, and also we will have the deck available to you, and I'll send that over to you guys on a post-webinar email. And I'll also post it in the Rex and TPM partner community. And we must also start off with a big thank you to all of our trusted partners on this call as you take your time out of your busy day to spend with us. Not only are you here to educate yourself, but you're here for your team and for your respective products and clouds, and ultimately your end customers and our end customers. And your success is our success. And each of you on this call are a key extension to our team. So thank you so much for supporting us and being our valued partner through this journey. Quickly introducing myself. So I am on the Partner Enablement Success team. If you've been on the communities, the Rex community in particular, I'm on there monitoring, sometimes going through the threads. Our team supports product, platform, core, and industry clouds. My specific team here at Salesforce has focused on industry solutions, my respective cloud being Consumer Goods Cloud. And we work between our partners and our product team. And our main mandate is to advocate for you guys, our partners, and for our product, make sure our partners are ready for implementation for the respective clouds that they support, and also to ensure partners have what they need to be successful. And today I am not really anyone important. I'm just a fly in the wall. And while the stars of the event are on the call with me, Ron Labart from Salesforce, and he's going to be having an open chat with the main events of today's show from OSF Digital, Gopal, and Sergio. So I'll let you folks quickly introduce yourself, and I'm just going to quickly hand over the mic to you, Ron, first.
Sure. Thank you, Ayaz. Ron Labhart. I am a part of the solutions and strategy team. We are kind of the liaisons between the product team that's building the product and all of the SI partners out there, as well as the clients, the customers, the AEs, the SEs, and we act as kind of a buffer or a moat between all of you and a protector of the product team and all the important work that they do. I'll pass it over to Gopal to introduce himself. He looks like he might be frozen. Maybe we'll let Sergio go.
Yeah, I can take over. So good morning, everyone. I'm Sergio Marchetti. I am a technical director at OSF, mainly for Latin region. So I'm based in Brazil and have been working with Salesforce since 2017. So I have more than 7 years experience in multi-cloud projects. And now I'm part of this great endeavor of consumer goods in TPM. So very nice to meet you all.
All right, over to you, Gopal.
Was there some audio problem?
Yeah, there was just some quick audio problems. We're good now.
Okay, all right. I was just introducing and then just saying that the industry knowledge, as well as we help client achieve their business goals at OSF, and I'm also part of the partner advisory board at Salesforce. So that's in addition to contributing to the whole journey.
Yeah, and Gopal, it's going to be very nice to meet you in person finally on our CGPAB meeting in November. So
looking forward to that.
All right, let me just progress the slide. So quick overview of our agenda today. So I'm going to just quickly take you through the slide, just summarizing the TPM AP exam. It is a newer one. I mean, not new. It came out earlier this year, relatively new compared to some of the other AP certs. And then we're going to just go straight into the fireside chat with Ron and the OSF folks, and then hopefully we will have some time for Q&A. I'm sure there's probably some folks that have questions regarding the TPM AP. I was recently in Bangalore doing some Rex modeler training. I know some of the partners there were also looking to get into TPM as part of their practice. So I know some of them might be on this call as well. And we're also then going to wrap it up, and we have some additional resources for you guys. So just quickly going through the TPM AP exam, I'm going to also share some links with you guys so you can go straight to the actual document that has the PDF version of the all the contents of the exam and the breakdown. But as you can see here, it is like your typical exam in Salesforce, around 60 questions roughly. You get about an hour, 15 minutes to write it. Passing score is 66%. Again, it came out at the beginning of the first quarter of this year, just at the end of February. Quick shout out to some of our partners, as they invested a lot of their time to kind of help us go through the whole drafting and building and going live phase of the TPM exam. So thank you, Accenture, Crowd Group, Deloitte UK, IBM, PwC, SPX, and Peak and Peak. Thank you all. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand it over to Ron as we get right into the fireside chat.
All right. Thank you, Ayaz. And thank you, Gopal and Sergio, for joining me today and joining us today. Now, let's start with you, Gopal. Why don't you tell us about OSF Digital, the company's specialization and focus, and maybe even a little bit about your team?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ron, for the opportunity. OSF Digital is a leading global transformation partner specializing in innovative AI-driven solutions on the Salesforce platform. As you see on the slide, we are at summit level of partnership, which is the highest level at Salesforce, and we have expertise in overall multiple clouds, multi-cloud solutions. We have innovative AI-driven solutions and specialize in implementation, integrations, customization, managed services, ensuring clients maximize their platform investment. Additionally, we also provide comprehensive solutions in consumer goods, digital marketing, customer experience, and overall end-to-end solutions. We have specializations across a lot of industries, but our primary focus is the retail consumer goods. As you can see, we are also part of the partner advisory board at Salesforce for multiple clouds, and recently also for the consumer goods and retail. On this slide, we just wanted to quick show a journey of a customer with the data in the center, how OSF Digital navigates through the clouds. On the left side, we see all the customer experience as the customers navigate through Revenue Cloud, Commerce Cloud, the OMS, Marketing Cloud, where we target users. On the left side, you see how we service the customers with our sales, service, loyalty management that helps in retaining the customers. And the bridge in the center is the MuleSoft integration. So OSF Digital is the end-to-end provider with the clouds as well as data for the customer. 70% of our clients are multi-cloud with end-to-end solutions.
All right. So a follow-up question for you, Gopal. What led your company to decide on focusing on our TPM offering?
That's a good question. So we at OSF Digital believe in constantly innovating and expanding our domain. As part of this exercise, we try and expand our horizon. Especially in these times, we wanted to expand in the retail consumer goods division, and in that, TPM plays an extremely essential part. Some of the key reasons why we thought of expanding was one was driving sales. Effective TPM, trade promotion management, helps in boosting sales and revenues for the retailers in their stores. by attracting and promoting products through the promotion management. Well-designed promotions always increase the foot traffic, encourage larger purchases, and enhance customer loyalty. The second point I would say was ROI maximization. By analyzing the performance of past promotion over the years, how the company did, what worked, what did not work, is a good way to analyze your performance, as well as what do you want to achieve in this year? What are the promotional budgets that you want to have for your organization? And then strategize the promotion. So these key initiatives are there which help in ROI maximization. Managing inventory. So TPM helps retailers manage their inventory more efficiently. I would say by planning promotions around slow-moving items in the store, retailers can then reduce the stock level and avoid markdowns that erode profit margins. Another aspect I would say is gaining customer insights and personalization. TPM definitely helps in knowing what does the customer like, what they do not like, and hence we can get details on the customer behavior and create segments, which help us in the long run to target customers, create a personalized journey, and give that experience that, that leads to higher customer satisfaction as well as loyalty. And last but not the least, we also wanted to have a good supplier collaboration between our retailers and the suppliers. So joint planning and execution of promotions, when you execute it smoothly, it helps the retailers coordinate with their suppliers smoothly, getting incentives, improving the relationship, and so on. So as a Salesforce SI, we wanted to maximize the value we provide to our customers. Hence, we decided to dive deep into the TPM journey.
Sound like very good reasons to me. Now, Sergio, I have a question for you. Tell us a bit about your experience with trade promotion management and TPM projects.
Sure. Thanks for asking, Ron. Our experience with TPM so far has been extremely positive. We have the opportunity to be part of one big project on TPM. So we are using the technology since then. And we have very positive surprise so far because everything the customer is asking us to implement, we can find very easily on the tool. So I don't remember any feature that we had to customize because TPM is a very complete suite of features, and it's covering most of the requirements that the customer is asking for. So it has been extremely positive so far, the experience.
Okay, well, a follow-up to that then, is Salesforce the first TPM software that you've implemented? And if it is, has it been what you expected? And if it's not the first one you've implemented, what has been different about it for you?
Well, for me, Ron, is the first TPM software that I have the opportunity to implement. So it's a positive experience so far. Of course, it took me like some time to catch up on the business knowledge because I haven't had the business knowledge before. So one of the key considerations was the really good training that we had the opportunity to be attending on Chicago about TPM. So I cannot say anything against TPM software so far. So on Salesforce, it's been a very positive experience.
And I'm sure you'll let me know if you find something. Now, let's switch gears a little bit to the APA exam itself, which is why we're here today. Now, Gopal, why did OSF decide to invest in gaining the accreditation for TPM?
That's a great question, Ron. So OSF Digital decided to pursue TPM certification as a crucial part in our learning journey and providing customer value. And there were several reasons that we thought about. First and foremost was enhancing our skills and knowledge. The TPM certification offers specialized knowledge and best practices both for technical and functional teams. The certification ensures that you get deep understanding of core features in Salesforce TPM, which include the strategic planning, execution, promo planning, analytics, the real-time reports, and so on. We wanted to also get industry recognition and credibility. A lot of times when the certifications are done, it helps in recognizing or distinguishing between other SIs and OSF. And also when clients put trust in us, we have the credibility and the expertise to fulfill that. It gives a competitive edge over delivery and solutions. It definitely helped our organization from a professional and competitors, in the market for consumer goods, whether an individual contributor or a team lead, having certification increased, the client confidence in us and the ability to deliver the solutions, be it out of the box or be it custom implementation. Also, we know that certified professionals are better equipped to handle designs, customization, and manage the TPM solution successfully, thereby reducing the risk of project failures. So with this overall mindset, we wanted to dive deeper and make sure we invest our time in the right domain.
Now, if I could ask, how many accreditations have you achieved to date?
Personally, this was my third accreditation, and then I had like Salesforce AI, Einstein AI, and Headless API, and so on. But at OSF, we have, I showed on the first slide, there was a bunch of end-to-end as well as accredited professionals and certifications that we have achieved.
More specifically, how many accreditations has your company gotten on the TPM? Do you have that number?
Sure, yeah. So totally, we have about between 8 and 10 at this time. There are a bunch of team members who are constantly getting trained and preparing themselves, and we are looking forward in the next few months, we're going to have many more.
Excellent. Okay. Now, Sergio, I consider you to be an example of a technical person who has achieved the accreditation. And congrats on that, by the way. Now, can you tell us, as a technical person, what was it like preparing for the AP exam?
Sure, Ron. First of all, I think having a solid technical background in Salesforce Core, it's a must, because TPM is built on the top of Salesforce Core. So having that knowledge is super helpful in order to prepare for the exam. So second point of view is about the business knowledge, because it's important to have some understanding about what TPM stands for. So if you know like the process from beginning to the end, and also if you have the opportunity to be part of a project before you take the exam, it's very helpful, because you are going to understand the scenario-based questions that we have on the AP exam. So another very important thing is the training on TPM platform. So if you have the opportunity to get like a demo org or a studying org to practice a little bit about TPM, you also can get like the training decks from the partner community, which is going to help you a lot on the preparation. So overall, the structured training and hands-on practice were instrumental in my successful preparation for the certification.
Okay. Now, Gopal, I'd like to toss the same question to you, but from more of a functional perspective.
Absolutely. So thanks, Sergio, for taking the technical part. From a functional standpoint, I would say the journey is quite similar. Learning the core features of TPM that include the strategic planning, the funds management, account management, promotion, execution, that requires both a functional and business knowledge for TPM. Not having a complete technical background is perfectly okay. However, the basic knowledge of Salesforce platform per se, the administrative features, the management of accounts, user roles, I would say that is essential to learning TPM. The key focus, however, is on the business strategies and how to plan the promotion and execution. From a functional standpoint, as long as the coverage is there for preparation with regards to the PLC, the Partner Learning Camp, and the hands-on exercises, even a functional journey would be quite similar.
Okay. Now, Sergio, back to you. What are some of the challenges that you had to overcome to pass the exam?
Sure. Well, I think the most challenging point for me was the business knowledge, because I haven't had any experience in TPM before. So knowing the TPM process, studying the partner learning camp courses was fundamental to help me on this subject. So that was the first challenge. The second one was about time management, because we have to balance the personal life with the work life. So I had to invest some time from my personal life in order to review all the materials, the decks, going through the hands-on exercises. And that was important. If you don't dedicate like a bit of hours during your weekends, I don't think you are going to be able to take the exam. The other point was about hands-on experience. So if you have the opportunity to get like a training org or a demo org, prepare your own data, prepare your master data, go through all the configurations that you have in TPM, because you have a lot of configurations. It's very important to understand how the system reflects each of those configurations. And finally, study materials and documentation from the help.salesforce was very helpful, because when you take the exam, you have like a bunch of scenario-based questions. So they are not going to ask you about, oh, what does this configuration do for you? They are going to give you like a scenario-based question, and based in your experience and the documentation, you have to choose the correct answer. So that was the most challenging subjects for me in order to pass the exam.
Great. Okay. Now, Gopal, same question. What are some of the challenges you had to overcome to pass the exam?
Absolutely. So I would say they were on similar lines that Sergio had, because I've been in the retail industry for a very long time. However, the TPM core terminologies, the concepts are very unique. Like, for example, KPIs. How do you set KPIs? What does KPI do, the key performance indicators for the retailers? What are the KPIs that are editable, non-editable, etc.? So deep diving into the terminologies and concepts, like for example tactics. We know how promotions work in retail, but there is a concept called tactics that give advantage or offer discounts, and you can have multiple tactics below promotions. The CBP, for instance, the customer business plan, assortments. These are some unique features or terminologies that are specific to TPM. So learning that was, it helped. Once we learned, we could connect the dots. But before that, it was a steep curve, or there was a learning for these terminologies, concepts. How do you work with templates? So for instance, most of the things in TPM work on templates, like the promotion, the tactics, the customers, etc. So that was our first time. And I would say that those were challenging to learn. But once you got through that first hump, it was easier. And then you could look back and connect, okay, this all made sense. And the second and foremost, second one, as Sergio had also mentioned, was time management. So with our own goals, our own day job, learning a new, core functional modules and devoting time to it is always challenging. So I would, leverage my downtime whenever I had, or prioritize work, or spend sometimes late evenings or the weekends, as Sergio was saying, be it during our work time. But we had to constantly create a plan and stick to that. That helped in, constantly moving forward, I would say. And of course, we had to focus on things and catch up. Like Sergio and I would have connects. We would discuss some of the challenges we faced and how do we resolve it. So overall, that helped us in going and, overcoming our challenges.
Okay. Well, I want to continue pulling this thread a little bit. Now, Gopal, what helped you the most to prepare yourself for the exam? And if you could, try to answer this not only from your perspective, but actually those of your peers as well, some of whom actually did not attend the training.
Yep, I will definitely. So the way we followed, or I personally did, was I had a very structured approach to the TPM session and gaining knowledge. We started with a strong foundation with the partner learning camp. The PLC gives a very good fundamental knowledge of what TPM modules are, what it entails, how it helps the retailers build that whole structure with the manufacturers and how the trade promotion is organized and so on. That was our first step. And so was for our peers, like we internally in OSF train our colleagues and other teammates. But PLC is the first building block because that gives you an overview of what is TPM and what is it internally do to the retailers and how it helps. But that itself is not sufficient. Once you have that foundation, we need to do either the classroom training that, the Salesforce, we were fortunate enough, I was, Sergio and myself, to attend the classroom training that you organized, Ron and Tim. We came to Chicago, we attended the 1 week training. That was by far the, best training I've attended because it deep dived into most of the modules. We knew how to customize or fix errors and so on. But for folks in OSF and otherwise, where you cannot attend the training, the same deck is there on the partner community. I strongly encourage to download that and go through the hands-on exercises. Salesforce also offers the free org. You can use that to practice your hands-on training. And that's how folks in OSF have been training as well, where we encourage to do that and then meet them weekly, bi-weekly and discuss their challenges or concepts, etc. So at the end of the day, I would say these two are extremely essential because as we were mentioning earlier, the questions for this is not going to be like, options based. It's all a scenario based. So you have to have a deep understanding, and that is only possible once you go through all this knowledge and then ask questions to, I actually want to also mention that Salesforce was also very helpful. Like we used to reach out to you, Ron, whenever we had any questions, and you were kind enough to get responses quickly to us. So that was also very helpful to us.
Okay. Now, Sergio, as the techie of us three, you've already mentioned a few times that about going into the learning org or some type of training or demo org. You happen to have had the learning org because you attended the training. I'm curious, where did you spend the most of your time within that org as you were prepping up for the exam?
Sure. I think there are two main points, Ron. One that Gopal said is about the opportunity we had when we replicate the training to our internal team. So that was definitely one of the most advantages we had on the preparation, because we had the opportunity to go through all the decks again and review what's asking on the decks, So we had the opportunity to create like a master data. Okay, let me see how I'm going to create an account. Let me see how I'm going to create like a product. And now let's make this account and product works in TPM. How should I do that? And then I went through all the records, changing the options, see how it reflects on the system. Then I finally was able to make like a product working in TPM. I was very happy about that because it took me a long time. Then I went to promotions, created like a promotion records. Then I started creating some tactical claims and see how each of those options reflects on the KPIs. So you can study a lot from the decks, you can study a lot from the documentation, but if you don't go like hands-on and see how each of those options reflects on configurations on your KPIs, and see how it behaves, it won't help you. You have to go in and put your hands on the records and see how the system behaves when you change options there.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah.
So now here's a question for the both of you. Were there any strategies that you employed to maximize OSF's chances for success? And Gopal, you can go ahead first on this.
Oh, yeah, sure, Ron. Strategy. So we were, the way I approached this, and Sergio, I used to connect a lot, was a strategy of divide and conquer. So basically we focused on our curriculum. There was an exam guide that Salesforce provides where you have various areas that you need to focus on. Between Sergio and myself, we would meet and decide, okay, I'm going to focus on the promotion, advanced promotions part. How about you focus on CBP? We would come back, share our notes, And that would help us cover what we knew and what we did not as well. So that help, with each session, we would master core concepts, meet regularly and address our questions, doubts. And we also used to set aside time for the study. That's also a key. With a busy day, if you don't put anything on your calendar or you've not put some focus time, it's very difficult to cover it at the end of the day. So we had some time dedicated for it, and then we would regularly meet, discuss our notes, and then see which areas we still needed help on. A lot of times when those kind of sessions happen internally, and if we did not find an answer from the notes, we would also reach out to you, Ron, or Tim. That's when you used to get our emails that, hey, we understood this concept, but how do we do this customization? Or if I wanted to modify a tactic and introduce certain new fields, how do I do that? Or what are the real-time reports that are available out of the box, or how do I customize that? So unlike other Salesforce clouds that I worked in, CGTPM needs a lot of focus and deep understanding of the concepts. So that's how we used to collaborate and work, Ron.
Okay. Sergio, do you have anything to add?
Well, what I can say on the top of what Gopal said is that the TPM cloud, like this package of TPM, is not a complex solution. I would say from the technical standpoint, it's a simple solution. You don't have like a lot of processes there, but you have to match somehow what the tool is offering to you against what the customer is expecting you to implement. So if you can create like this kind of connectivity between the features and what the customer is asking for, your understanding is going to be even better on the tool, because it's not hard to implement. Of course, we have like our challenge. Sometimes the customer asks like some custom features or something that's still on the roadmap. But if you have a comprehensive knowledge about what you are trying to achieve, it's very easy to drive the customer to the correct path.
Okay. Now, you've mentioned reaching out to those wonderful teachers that you had available to you. Now, I'd like you to separate just for a moment the reach outs on behalf of the project you're on versus the reach outs as you were preparing for the exam. I'm curious as to know, did you have some examples of maybe the types of questions that you didn't feel the documentation was covering that you felt that you had to reach out? And if you didn't have to reach out, did you at least feel that you had that as a relief valve available to you?
Yeah, I can take that. Absolutely. So as I was talking about project part, now let's talk about the initial training that we were doing. So once we did that training and we went through all the notes and exercise sessions, I distinctly remember some of the core features of assortments. For example, when you create a customer business plan and you have assortments for accounts, what is the main purpose of that? How is the assortment going to help the retailers? We had some difficulty understanding those concepts, and I remember very distinctly I reached out to you, Ron, about our questions and during the prep time, and it has been multiple times when we have reached out, because some of the terminology, some of the concepts were not that clear. I would say 90% were clear, but there were some questions we had, of course. But once we reach out, I don't remember a time where I didn't have the solution or the answer the next day. So the responsiveness of yourself and Tim were that good and very helpful when we were preparing for the whole program. And also we had some questions on best practices and the Salesforce org configuration. There's a sales org that is configured, which is the fundamental for TPM. Some retailers can have multiple orgs, some can have single, depending on the business complexity or the features. How do you design that? What are the various configurations that you can make that control the org? Because the sales org is something that you have to do upfront when the project starts, not later on. So those are some of the things that you helped us when we reached out. And I was, very happy with the response times you had. So that's, something I would recommend people to do as well, that reaching out to you guys or the Salesforce support is, one of the essential things that everyone should do.
Okay. Now, let's think ahead in time. what's next? Now, by that, I mean, what do you plan to do next to continue or even increase your success and knowledge of TPM? Let's start with you, Sergio.
Well, I'm hoping to prepare more people from our team, Ron, in order to make them capable of implementing TPM, since OSF's trying to get more projects on this tool, right? And retail, mainly retail and consumer goods cloud, and TPM is also part of that. So we have to build a stronger team with more people capable of implementing, and also having the opportunity to see how this retail industry works across different customers is going to be very, very helpful as well. So I remember when you came on the retail event in Brazil, like a few weeks ago. So it was really good to see how different companies are implementing the solution in different ways. So I think the next steps to understand more about the business and make sure we are taking the best features that we have to offer to the customers. That's what I would say.
Okay. And Gopal, over to you, the same question.
So what's next? So as an organization, I would say OSF is highly committed to increasing our pool, as Sergio was mentioning. We wanted to build a team of TPM experts inside. And for that, we are constantly working with our teams to provide them knowledge. We've created, group here in OSF where we discuss the technical parts as technical exchange sessions where we talk about how to approach it, what are the questions, how we train internally. So we are constantly focusing on TPM team certification, both here as well as internationally. Also, we have an active Salesforce engagement. As I was mentioning, we hold meetings either weekly or bi-weekly to make sure that we have a constant connect and discuss the strategies, the best practices, what's upcoming, and so on and so forth. The collaboration and feedback we have typically with also our clients, like we meet with the clients actively on projects as well as pre-sales. We discuss their unique needs, and the constant feedback loop is essential, we feel, for the future as well, where you gain knowledge about what's the features they're looking for, what are we planning to build, or is that something that Salesforce already has, and so on. Also, I'm part of the partner advisory board for consumer goods. So I'm looking forward to that journey where we will, as industry experts, come together, meet at a common place, and discuss our own points on the tool, on the product. What are the features that help the organization, as well as what is it that the clients are looking for? For instance, after TPM, is it going to be integrated with other Salesforce clouds like a data cloud or an experience cloud? So we are doing that for one of our clients, but how is Salesforce going to expand? So that whole opportunity to discuss the future and roadmap is what we are also, interested in on that journey with Salesforce.
Great. Okay. So we've reached that point in the webinar where we think we have some time to take some questions from the audience. So Ayaz, are there any questions for us? Oh, you're on mute.
Sorry, folks. That was hard mute on my Yeti mic. So yeah, no, we actually do have a lot of questions. So thank you all for your participation. Before I actually get through the questions, just for the folks that are on the call, someone had asked about where do you sign up for these TPM orgs? So best thing to do right now is go into the partner community, into the TPM partner community, and in the left-hand sidebar, there's a TPM org request. And the whole process is here, rules of engagement and the request form. So just go here. I'm going to share the links with you all so you can go there. Now getting into the questions. So Ron, here is one question that just came in. A couple of anonymous ones, so I don't know any names, but one is, how does the TPM certification compare to other certifications that OSF Digital has obtained, and why? And I think, Gopal, you may have talked about some of your certifications as well.
Sure. Yeah, I can take that one. So the TPM certification is unique in the sense it's a specialization. I would say TPM specializes in strategy, planning, execution, and analysis of trade promotions. It deep dives into these concepts and domain wise as well as technical wise, the technical knowledge for achieving and configuring promotions, strategy, and so on. Majority of the other certifications that I have personally done, as well as I know from the folks in OSF, is they focus more on the roles. Like there is an admin, there is a developer, there's a architect, consultant, and so on. What that role entails, what is it that they have to do? That's the focus of the certification. Unlike TPM, it's more of specialized knowledge of the functional and domain areas. The second is industry. So basically, TPM is tailored for the consumer goods and retail industry, addressing unique challenges that customers or retailers face today, where they have to plan and strategize their budgets, funding, their account management, access, and so on. But other certifications for Salesforce, I feel they are applicable across multiple industries. So if you have an architect or a B2B certification or a retail certification, there are some that are applicable to multiple industries, unlike TPM, which is very specific to the consumer goods retail industry. Hope that answers.
No, thank you.
Okay. Have another question, I guess?
Yeah, so another one was, what was one of the topics of trade promotion management that you found the most challenging to learn?
Why don't we have each of you take turns in answering this one, because I think you may give very distinct answers.
Well,
I'm
about to vote in KPIs, Ron. KPIs is the most challenging topic to cover because we have like a lot of different options, and we also have like the challenge of syncing the Salesforce core with Hyperforce for the processing services. So understanding how all this process works and what are all the different KPI settings that you have, because you have like only read KPIs, writing KPIs, editable formulas, and compound. And I would say KPIs is the one that I took most of my time studying during the certification. How about you, Gopal?
All right. Yeah, I would say I had a couple of areas. One was the CBP and assortments. So CBP is the customer business plan. How do you create the plans for different various customers? What are the various parameters that are involved and the configurations? And the assortments where you create for each account. So basically the accounts can have assortment where you assign a set of products or that go for a specific duration, making sure that if there is some overlap, you manage that properly. Otherwise, there can be conflicts. So I would say CBP and assortments is one area, and then advanced promotion and tactics. I would say there is a whole templatized approach, which is very unique to TPM. In other Salesforce clouds, I've seen there are no templates. Here, for each and every entity that you work with, be it promotion, a tactic, a customer account, account management, and so on, everything has a template in itself. So understanding that and making yourself aware of what other configurations you can do in the templates and what you cannot, how is the customization done, or how is the formulas built inside for fields, that was something that was challenging, and over time we overcame that.
Okay. Ayaz, what else do we have?
A couple of questions. So here's a question. Given the exam is a more, where am I? What is the time? Sorry, I was trying to queue up one of the questions, but I scrolled down. Oh, there it is. So looking back at the exam, what's one topic area you wish you spent more time studying for? I guess that might have touched upon the challenges as well.
Yeah, I think this is kind of gets into the hindsight now that once you got through it, you're like, oh, I wish I had studied on this or this. And given that the exam is more technical than functional, I'd like to toss that one to Gopal.
Absolutely. So one topic that was more technical and more time, wish we could have spent more time. I would say there were two areas. The first and foremost that I still remember distinctly is the sales org configurations. So there were a bunch of questions around how the sales org can be configured. What are the various attributes that you can select? What are the various configurations you can make, especially around the trade calendars? When does the business calendar start? Because these are some important aspects that you do in the beginning of the project. What is a custom calendar versus a system calendar? The configurations for templates, what are the promotional templates that you select? And there is a bunch of things that you do. So I wish, we could have spent more time, because I distinctly remember in the scenario-based questions also, there was scenarios around sales configuration that a customer needs this. Would you select one or multiple sales org? What are the configurations you do? So I would highly recommend spending more time on that. And then the templates is something I mentioned earlier, focusing on what the templates have, what are the configurations you could do underlying in the promotions, in the tactics, so on. I think some things definitely worth spending more time on.
All right. And Sergio, do you have anything you want to add? Because you're maybe came at it from more technical. Is there any trip ups that you wish you had studied more for?
Yeah, definitely the template settings is important because we got some questions from the exam where it asks where should you go to set up a specific feature for TPM. So I would say it's very important to go through all those settings and play with them and see how it reflects on the system. And also something that I got very confused when I was studying was about the custom calendars, because you have the ability to group weeks or quarters or months into custom buckets. So it's important to understand how it works and see how it reflects on the KPI aggregation settings. And I think that's it. Well, one important thing that I also remember is not focus only in TPM, because there are questions about the difference like TPM and Rex, for example. When I should use like a CG Rex and when I should use like CG TPM. So it's important to have at least a basic knowledge on the different solution suite for each of those.
Good to know. Good to know.
Yeah.
Yes. Anything else for us?
Yeah, this one's actually a good one. Who would have a harder time passing the TPM exam? A person that's functional or the technical person?
I definitely want to hear from both of you on this one.
Okay, I can give my viewpoint, and then Sergio, you can go next. Between a functional and technical, so a purely functional person without any knowledge, let me make a distinction there. Without any knowledge of Salesforce core platform will have a very steep curve to learn. A functional person who has Salesforce core platform information, be it administrator, be it fundamental knowledge, like how the platform works or the setup that's there in Salesforce and going through the user roles and permissions, they can easily learn TPM. TPM doesn't need a solid technical background. Like, we're not writing code here inside the tool. It's basically drag and drop, or it's setup and configuration and certain formulas that you have to write. So I would say a purely functional person, but with a Salesforce background, knowing Lightning platform and administrative roles, can be equally, can take the certification with ease as well, going through the PLC and the training org, in comparison to a technical person. Of course, a technical person has that upper edge that they already know how the core interaction happens, but it's not difficult for a functional person also with knowledge to gain TPM AP.
Okay. Now I'm actually, I noticed a question that came in. I'm going to jump in on this one in place of Ayaz. And I'm gonna kind of read the question, but I'm gonna maybe take out a little bit to protect the innocent here. So I'm a Salesforce developer and I'm working in TPM for the past 3 years. And it's very confusing for me to understand the KPIs, for example, planned volume, planned revenue, actual volume, LE volume, kind of gets to this functional stuff that we've been talking about to me today. It's confusing terms for me. How can I be very clear on this? I need to help on understanding those business terms. He's got 2 other questions on this, but did you have a place in the documentation to learn that, or did you learn that more from having taken the class with us? Where do you feel that you got that functional knowledge to prepare for the exam?
Uh, I can take that, and then Sergio, you provide your view. So functional knowledge, we definitely got a lot from the classroom training. But the decks that we have from Salesforce, that covers a lot of these aspects. If we dive deep into the KPI module, there are parts which cover what are the various KPIs and how do you configure that. And there are formulas associated to each of the KPIs. I would say getting that knowledge and trying out yourself. Like we also did a backend integration with an API to feed the data to the TPM, and then we observed how it works and shows. I would say that hands-on exercise is important to learn the fundamentals of KPI and then how it displays the previous year, the target revenue, the target funds, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The common theme that I hear. Okay, sorry, Sergio, you want to chime in there as well?
Yeah, just to add something, Ron. I mean, some of the KPIs, like they are kind of self-explanatory, but so sometimes in theory we don't know what they means. So for example, baseline volume. Okay, we might know what is baseline volume, but what is baseline volume for a TPM company on TPM process? So something that definitely helped me a lot was to Google some of those names and try to understand how it goes against the business process, you know. So baseline volume, previous year's volume, like actuals, like liabilities. So if you take some time to understand each of those acronyms and try to think about what they should be doing on the implementation, it's definitely helpful to achieve the certification.
We are definitely acronym heavy. I would give you that.
Yeah.
Now, the second part of his question, and you kind of hinted at it, but we never really nailed it down to an exact answer. So that's why I saw this and wanted to ask it. The question is, I'm trying to understand how much resource time needs to be invested. How long did it take to get accredited? Now, if we take aside the training itself, because not all of your people took the training, it was just you two and maybe one other that took the training. That's 32 hours. It's a 4-day training. Put that aside. Apart from that, how much time, and I know, Sergio, you said you had to do some of this on your own time. If you had to put a number to it, how many hours do you think that you invested in truly preparing for the exam outside of the training that you took?
Well, the strategy that I did for studying, I spared like 1 hour of my day, like daily, for 2 months. So since we came back from training until the moment we were able to achieve the certification, I can say I spent like from 1 to 2 hours daily on those topics and practicing on the hands-on organization, going through the decks, making my own experiments, you know. So
Okay.
Around 2 months, like 1 to 2 hours daily. Yeah.
Okay. Very good. So I think we have time for one more question, and I saw the question, so I actually want to throw this one out there because I want it's of interest to me. The question is, I'm already certified on CG Cloud. Isn't that the same thing? And Gopal, I'd like you to answer this one.
Absolutely, yes. I understand where the person is coming from. So CG Cloud, TPM, and Rex, these are 3 categories of consumer goods. They are 3 similar but different domains in consumer goods. So CG Cloud base is an industry cloud with an optimized data for the retail industry. So there are few features in the industry that help in building flows around the service and sales cloud that's optimized for retail. However, the consumer goods base does not have anything specialized for the promotions or the retail execution. Now, consumer goods base gives you the knowledge of consumer goods as an industry, However, TPM, as we discussed so far, is a specialized area of consumer goods which focuses only on trade promotions, the strategic planning, orchestration, setup, execution, the buyback, returns, claims, all that. So that is covered in the TPM. Now, retail execution is the third part of consumer goods. That mainly caters from a sales rep standpoint. The field reps that typically plan their day and go to the stores, they execute their visits and more seamlessly place orders or check inventory, order management, and all that. There's a, I think, Copilot tool in the Rex, which helps reps plan their day, execute it in a, seamless manner. So I would say these are the three distinct areas. Certification on each is different. Consumer goods and TPM currently have certifications, but Rex, I believe it's upcoming. It's not there yet.
Okay, and I think the key message there is they are different certifications.
Absolutely.
If you get CG certified, that does not mean you're going to be ready to just jump into a TPM project, which is why I saw that question and wanted to throw it out to you. Now, with that, I think I'm going to turn things back over to Ayaz to close us out.
Yeah, thank you. And I know there was like an inside joke there of some sort in that one too, Ron. So I saw that. But
sure.
Just a couple of things here. A lot of links here. I'm not going to speak to all of them, but I will be sending it in the chat widget. Actually, since we're talking about the chat widget, I know you guys can't post there, but I am right now just posting a link right into the partner community for you folks. So you want to just copy and paste that maybe onto a notepad. And then also, and if you didn't receive anything, if it's not working, I'm going to send it in a separate email. But also a couple of things here in the links here. One thing to note is, and I have a document on this, but AP exams are moving to Web Assessor, and I think starting on October 16th. So one of the links I shared has that reference in there. And also I have links I've shared with the AP professional exam, the breakdown of all that, and which also includes information on the actual technical learning journey that is recommended as you kind of go through this whole journey that OSF Digital had embarked on and done successfully. Okay, so I'm just gonna hand this one back over to you, Ron. I know you had a couple of things before we wrap things up.
Just real quick, in 60 seconds, this kind of shows some pillars of different ways that you get enabled. The AP exam is one of those pillars. We have another thing called Stand and Deliver, which allows you in a safe environment without a customer to be able to actually prepare an environment and demonstrate it to Tim and myself to show that you have truly learned how to configure a TPM system. But then beyond that, and it's some of the things that the team here from OSF have talked about, is building your own assets internally to enable you to deliver efficiently the product when you are on a project with the customer, as well as the force multiplier, which is really taking your knowledge that you learn and extend that to other members of your organization. And I'll just end it on that.
All right, thank you, Ron, and thank you everyone for joining. I know there was a couple of questions in there. We're just kind of at the top of the clock right now, but Rich, I saw a question with you. I'll take that offline. You had a question in regards to the exam specifically, and thank you, Ganesh, for your comment. So thank you everyone for joining in today. Really appreciate you taking your time out of your day to spend with us. And a big thank you to OSF Digital for spending 1 hour of your time with Ron and I as we kind of wanted to inform and educate you all, just kind of starting your TPM journey. And hopefully this will help kind of start that whole drive for you guys as you look to get certified with trade promotion management. And again, thank you, Ron, for hosting this as well. This is great having you with that back and forth. And thank you all. We're going to end it off here, and we will be sending out recordings and some of the links as well via email and on the partner community. So thank you, everyone, and have a great day.
Thank you all. Thank you, Ayaz. Thanks, Ron.
Thank you all.
Thank
Take
you,
care.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.